So for a DC power supply, you'll notice that's on this side over here, you got one red and one black, and over here for AC, you have two of the same color. It's a color coding that generally the red side is the positive side and the black side is the negative side. This is a sort of traditional color coding. So power is the current is going to flow out of the red side, and then if I have a complete circuit, will flow into the black side over here. Over here with the AC, they're both the same because the current's going to be flowing back and forth. It's alternating current, and so there really is no high side or low side. Although in terms of analysis, you sort of pretend there's a high side and a low side just so that the math works out and you're consistent. So anyway, the power's going to flow out of the red side coming into the black side. Assuming that there's no problem with any of the cords. So it's going to be flowing. So current is going to flow to here. It's going to flow down one side of this aluminum strip, up the other side of the aluminum strip, and then down here, back into here. So we have a complete circuit. So the first question I ask you is, what's going to happen to the aluminum strip when I turn it on? Feel free to speculate.
It's gonna move.
Is that
It's gonna move, so it's not floating.
going to float?
Or like, just move in general.
All right, so how's it going to move? So here's basically the circuit diagram. We've got the strip here, and this is going to be connected to the positive side of the battery, and the other one's connected to the negative side. And sorry about the chairs blocking you for right now. Or from over here. Got the aluminum strip. That's the positive side and the negative side. So current's going to be flowing this way. What can you tell me about the current in the aluminum strip?
It's going down this side and up this side.
Okay, so I have current flowing this direction and this direction, or over here. One more for the left. So I have two wires with current flowing in opposite directions. And yes, even though I call it an aluminum strip, it's acting like a wire because current is flowing through it. It just happens to be a flat wire. I assume it's the clock that's ticking. Well, this potentially is going to explain one of the answers I get on one of the master sets. If I have two wires here, and current is flowing in the same direction, what can you tell me about anything here? Okay. What about magnetic fields?
They're magnetic fields will attract.
Will they? So if we did, all right, so let's got blue wire here. All right, so the magnetic field is going which way? All right, so you're pulling out the right hand.
Yes, so.
All right, so it's going,
Yes.
and then out. Okay, what about the other wire?
And then it's going, on the other wire, it's going in on the left side and out on the right side. And since in the middle, their magnetic fields are going the opposite way of each other.
Right.
They're going to attract.
Okay, there we go. Now, in this particular case, we have currents going in opposite directions.
So they're going to repel.
So what would you expect to see when I turn this on?
The aluminum foil on both sides to separate.
Okay, let's find out if that's true. And if you can't see the aluminum strips, I recommend sort of working your way around. I don't know if the video is really gonna pick up on it. No, I don't wanna mess with it. All right, I wanna make sure that the aluminum strips aren't touching anywhere above here, because if it is, then it's gonna basically short circuit. I want the current to flow down the entire length. And boom. That was exciting. All right, it is only twitching just a little bit, so see if I can get them closer to each other without touching. All right, something's off. Okay, you might want to just take your seat while I troubleshoot this. All right, so the light came on, so this is working. Usually use a longer strip, but I should have seen more than that. So it's possible that one of the wires is bad, or bad connection. That's touching there. And then let's make sure I'm actually touching the aluminum there. This should make absolutely no difference, but this actually has worked once. Oops. Torn it there. Power's on. That light comes on. Ooh, doesn't feel right. Oh, there is something wrong with this power supply. I'm gonna go grab another one. actually see something. Not a whole lot, but, all right, we're ready for action here. You wanna get back to where you can see it again? Oh, really? Oh, wait a second, I know what happened. There we go. Maybe it's, you're moving this, doing it. It twitched, honest. All right, 20th time's the charm. All right, it did indeed puff out as predicted. Now, what's happening here, oh, should turn that off. What's happening is that because there's so little resistance here that we're basically tripping the breaker here, so I have to reset it. So it's gonna puff out until the current is too much, and then this thing shuts off. So that's why it then collapses again. If I reset. And then it just clicked off. I have to reset it. There we go. So, as predicted. Now, it's had various forms over the years of how well it works. This is probably a middling display. There's a lab around this where you actually then try to predict how far apart it's going to spread. And that lab comes anywhere from 10% error to 100%. So anyway, that was the demonstration. This was the one that when I had a 252 group doing the lab, and they had it all set up, and they flipped on the switch, and the two sides of the aluminum came together. And so I went over there and I saw, in fact, indeed, they flipped it on, and they came together instead of puffing out. And so all I did was switch the lead, so instead of the current doing this, the current did that, and it puffed out. Do not know why. But of course, for those who've had class in the other classroom, which I guess potentially there's one of you, they were in the cursive section. Oh, so let's start out with, are there any questions? Or continue with, I guess we're not starting with it. Are there any questions?
I have some questions about the master set.
Okay.
Can you show us how to set up number 3?
Which master set?
23.
Let's see if I have a copy of the master set here, otherwise I'm going to have to see what you got. All right, so let's see. Number 3, bent wire sits in the YZ plane, closed one end on the Z axis, sides parallel to the Z axis. So I got a YZ plane, closed end on the Z axis, sides parallel to Z axis. Let's see. So I got YZ. Closed end is on the Z axis, sides parallel to the Z axis. run in the plus Y direction. I feel like that's misworded there. Yeah, there should be the sides perpendicular to the z-axis from the plus Y direction. Movable wire parallel to the z-axis, but not on the z-axis at any time, move in the plus Y direction. Magnetic field is going to the positive X direction, bathes the circuit. What is the direction of the induced current? Okay. Y, Z. So if that's my y-axis and z-axis, in a right-handed coordinate system, what's the direction of my x-axis? Yes. Because y cross z would be x, or j cross k is I. So x is coming out at us. There is a bent wire that is in the YZ plane here, and so I got one end that's on the z-axis, and then the other ends run in the plus y direction. So it should be perpendicular. That's where I said parallel. And then there is a movable wire that is parallel to the z-axis there and will run in the plus y direction. So that will be the direction of the speed. The magnetic field is in the plus x direction, so that means it's coming out at us, since that's the direction of the x. So magnetic field coming at us. And so as this moves out this way, what's the direction of the magnetic field? Oh, sorry, of the induced current in the wire, do I say, the movable wire?
Yes.
Okay. So it's either gonna be in the positive z direction or the negative z direction. So is that, yes, that's what your question was?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Other questions?
I had a question around the setup of 5. Something
And 5,
I
you have
do
it
not
with you?
have.
Can I see number 5, please? Which one's 5? This one over here. Okay, the looped wire in the XY plane is connected to a battery and an open switch. Few centimeters above in the positive Z direction, looped wire is closed loop, parallel to C. Switch is closed for a few seconds, then open back up. Sketch the graph of the induced current in D versus time when looking at the D from above, assuming clockwise is positive flow. So your question was a visualization, or?
Yeah, I kind of have it, so I've got like D above C. Very bad. I'm sure this is what.
Yeah, it's something like that. So this were my XY plane. I've got some wire C here, and then there's wire D that's sitting over top of it.
I just want to make sure that sounded correct, and C's the one with the switch.
Yeah, oh, yeah. So I've got a battery here with a switch. Do I specify which way the current's gonna flow in the wire C?
You gave a direction of which was like positive current, but I'm not sure if it was a.
So it goes clockwise at first? Oh, so it goes clockwise?
Yeah, counterclockwise is positive current flow.
Counterclockwise is positive. But do I specify which way the current's flowing in C when I flip the switch?
don't believe.
I don't think so.
Okay. So apparently there's the two answers. Which this would be one of them. There's a characteristic I'm looking for when you turn it on and when you open up the switch and close the switch. There should be a distinction between those two.
Could you also show us how to set up number 4, kind of like how you did number 3, but just.
Right, so
a visual
number 4.
version?
For a circular loop of wire centered at the origin lies in the XY plane. All right, we're gonna loop in the radius, cylindrical magnets. Starts out at rest along the primary axis along the Z-axis, with its primary axis along the Z-axis. Bottom tip of the magnet is the North Pole, and it's situated 8 centimeters above. Magnet is dropped straight through. So it follows North Pole down, goes straight through the center of the loop. All right, so I create a magnetic field if I have a moving charge. If I have a changing magnetic field, I can create a current, which creates a magnetic field, which opposes the change in the magnetic flux. That's sort of the setup there.